Check.
Check.
All right, folks, we're back at it. An afternoon following maybe the greatest college baseball game that has ever been played. Kyle Schassburger, David Kahn with you on College Sports Now, and the college baseball finals at the College World Series in Omaha have been set. It'll be Florida and LSU, an all-SEC final series, but David Kahn, there's no other place that we should start than looking back and what we had, what the world was able to experience on ESPN2, mind you, because of something called the NBA Draft.
What's that?
That was going on Thursday night. But you and I broke bread together. Little Pudge was there. She's here along for the ride in studio as we come to you live on the Varsity Channel on YouTube. College Sports Now, wherever you get your audio podcasts as well for the OGs. And we're here to talk Wake Forest and LSU because, by golly, what a fantastic baseball game we had that sets us up with the Gators and the Tigers. Both teams so deserving for Wake Forest. A record-setting year comes to an end. But all the hype, okay, we had been talking about this for weeks, for months. Give us Rhett Lauder, Paul Skeens. We knew there was a distinct possibility that would happen. You laid out, you projected how it could happen back when the College World Series got started a week ago. And the baseball gods were very kind. They gifted us with the most phenomenal matchup that we ever could have asked for and more. Not only did it deliver, okay, but it overextended and over-delivered itself in so many ways.
Yeah, we manifested the Paul Skeens Rhett Lauder matchup in Omaha. I mean, oh my goodness, what a scintillating matchup to watch. The greatest baseball game that I've seen in quite some time, if not ever. There's been arguments. Ryan McGee of ESPN put out an article earlier today discussing whether that was the greatest game of the College World Series finals ever, or at the College World Series ever. And they talked about Virginia and TCU in 2014. There was a Creighton-Wichita State game in 1991 that was brought into the discussion. For my money, from the College World Series finals or College World Series games that I've watched in my life as a baseball fan, that's the greatest game I've ever seen in Omaha. It was incredible. It was the first extra inning game of the College World Series. The only one that's gone to extras. It goes to 11. You have the domination of Paul Skeens and Rhett Lauder going, tit for tat. Nobody was giving an edge. Rhett Lauder goes 7. Paul Skeens goes 8. They were both phenomenal. You have the squeeze play that just went LSU's way. It was executed perfectly on both ends. I love the call from Tom Walter. And then in the 11th inning, childhood friends, Cam Manasseh, Tommy Tanks. Manasseh elects not to throw a heater, which everybody in the ballpark thought Cam Manasseh is rearing back and blowing 98 right at Tommy Tanks and saying, here's old number 1. He goes, no, I'm going to throw a slider. And unfortunately for Cam Manasseh, he hung it. And Tommy Tanks knows what to do with a hanging breaking ball, and he pounded it into the seats. Game over. Wake season over. But
I think I blacked out, man.
Yeah.
I think I blacked out. I remember the last thing you said to me. We were at an establishment called Carolina Ale House.
Yes.
No plug, okay? It's not the greatest, but hey, it got the job done.
It was
all
fun.
Right?
We needed a place to watch the game.
We had the sound on. We had the projector screen. Pudge had her head buried in her tablet the moment before Tommy Tanks created his favorite kind of tater, the mashed kind, and ended Wake Forest's life in the 11th inning with the 2-1 blast that scored Dylan Cruz as well. By the way, Tommy Tanks walked earlier in that game, intentional, in that magical 8th inning, magical from a defensive standpoint because of the play Trey Morgan. We'll talk about that more. Very reminiscent of what Wake did in the 8th inning the other night with Bennett Lee and Brock Wilkin, combining for a terrific defensive play. And then it was Bennett Lee coming up and delivering with what would be the game-winning RBI, and I thought Trey Morgan was being put in that same spot, but no, sir. But Tommy White, after getting intentionally walked, gets his chance again in the 11th inning, and I swear the last thing you said out loud, and you were having a conniption most of the night, okay? You were in a Wake Forest polo.
Yes.
I was wearing LSU gear.
Yes.
Pudge had on an SEC hat. She had on a pulmonary LSU baseball summer camp T-shirt, okay? We were homes divided.
Yes.
Okay? Podcast divided.
Yes.
And you took a very strong stance. I took a very strong stance. You were very vocal in voicing your frustrations and very energetic. Terrific fan. I think a lot of the people who were at the restaurant, there weren't many, but the people, the crowd did build up overnight. I'm sure they were entertained by your antics. But I do remember the last thing you said after that final pitching change as Wake Forest went to their guy was they call him McNasty.
Yes.
Because he is nasty.
He is.
And then I look up, and boom! Tommy White says, "Hasta la vista, baby."
Yeah.
And he
my
just
jaw
threw
just
it.
dropped.
He was not expecting the pitch, to
No.
your point.
Yeah.
Just threw his hands at it.
Yeah.
And Tommy White did Tommy White things. And not only did the former ACC NC State star, freshman of the year, freshman home run record, 27 bombs, who decided, I'm going to go get that bag, and I'm going to go play in the SEC after last year's record-setting season. Not only did he twist the knife and just deliver the kill shot to Wake Forest, but in doing so, he's also twisting the knife in the process of NC State fans who are having to see him on that stage.
Yeah, listen. We've talked about how NC State got screwed last year, right? And the year before. They get screwed again.
Dude, they can't get out of their own way.
You can't get out of your own
Unbelievable.
way. They're not even in Omaha. They didn't even
Oh,
make they made the tournament this year, and they still find a way to get screwed in Omaha. It's incredible.
I got to pull up one of the more endearing, I say endearing, but
tweets,
pitiful, selfless.
Oh, geez.
NC State, and I say selfless would be a compliment.
Yeah.
NC State fan, these NC State fans just they commiserate together.
Yes.
Like that. That's what they do. Oh, I got another story.
A family in sorrow.
Yes. We'll get to that. Okay, so I said, and Dustin beat you. By the way, we will hear from our bracket challenge champion.
Yes.
Before we get off the air in the next 50 minutes or so.
Dusty.
Dustin Johnson has some words. He'd like to get atop, the platform here and preach to all those that were not able to light a candle or light a flame. Although Big Dave, it came down to the game last night. If Wake Forest would have won, Dave would have won. But Dave was texting me, who was in our bracket challenge, and I told him Tommy Tank's twisting the knife in Wake and State now. And he's like, yeah, I told my wife. Damn it. She said, what? Told her Tommy went to State, and he's about to F Wake. And then it happens.
Oh.
And he said, as soon as Dylan Cruz get on base, I said, damn it. And sure enough,
Yeah.
like every State fan, I think, saw that moment coming.
Yeah.
Because, again, they just why? Like, it always happens
Right.
to them.
Yeah.
Like, they just anticipate it.
Peter Burns tweeted before the bottom of the 11th inning,
Yeah.
Tommy Tanks is going to walk this one off, and then 2 batters later, ba-boom, there it goes. I mean, can you script a better game than that? It was incredible. You have the 2 pitching matchups
So
who are like the headliners.
You
have
got
the
the
squeeze
lines?
play.
I got them in front
Yeah,
of me. So,
I have the lines, but like just laying it all out there. Like
Yeah.
Act 1, Paul Skeens and Rhett Lauder. Act 2, Trey Morgan, the best defensive first baseman in the game, finally gets back to first base and makes the play of the game. Act 3, Tommy Tanks says, "Good night, curtain closed."
Yeah.
Incredible.
The stage, it was not the stages of grief, but, I mean, it had these twists and turns and different moments of drama that just delivered, again, in every aspect that any of us could have ever asked for.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens, 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. He is your new SEC strikeout leader. It only took, what, 3 Ks,
3,
I think, for
He's
him
at
to
209 now.
for him to overcome Ben McDonald, so who I think was sitting at 202. Either way, Skeens is your new strikeout leader, 209 for the season, and he may, you would hope or
Monday.
think from an LSU perspective, but it's probably not going to be until Monday. I don't see any way you run him out
There's
there
no
a day
way.
early
No.
on Sunday. If LSU loses Saturday, game 1 is 7:00 Eastern. It's a 2:00 game
3.
on Saturday, 3:00 Eastern.
3 Eastern.
On Saturday, and then Monday TBD if a third game is necessary between Florida and LSU. That would also be a 7:00 Eastern game. But again, Skeens line, 8 innings, 2 hits, 9 Ks, 1 walk, 120 total pitches. Just the 2 hits allowed for Rhett Lauder, 3 hits allowed in 7 innings, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 88 pitches. So you want to talk about the Wake Forest pitching decisions? Was it the right move? I mean, I guess it was in a way, but if you got another inning out of Lauder, again, 88 pitches. Come on, roll him out there.
It didn't hurt them, right?
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020. It didn't hurt them. Michael Massey came out and had ice water in his veins. He was phenomenal.
And Cole Rowland came
Tulane
in
pitcher.
and gave you a third before.
Right, exactly. Former Tulane pitcher, roll wave, have to get that in there. Massey was great, and he carried you into the 11th inning, gave up the hit to Dylan, or put Dylan Cruz on, and then he took him out and went to his best guy, Manasseh. I don't fault Tom Walter for any of the decisions he made because we've seen this all year. They have been supremely careful with Rhett Lauder's arm all season. And you have to remember, Lauder is pitching on 4 days rest right now. So, because he had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday doesn't count as a day of rest because you're pitching again. So he had 4 days rest. That's 3 days less than he or 2 days less than he normally has, because he usually goes Friday to Friday.
Yeah.
So 2 to 3, depending on how you look at it. So, yes, I know he'd thrown 95 plus in each of his last 5 outings, and he could have kept going. I mean, you could see it in the dugout. He was exasperated. He was, visibly upset that he was not out there on the mound in the 8th inning. But there are bigger things than winning the College World Series individually. As a team, you want to win, of course. But for Rhett Lauder's career, as a top 10 pick this year, he will go in the top 10. There's no question about it. They have projected as 9 right now, I believe, according to the latest mock drafts.
Yes.
He needed to come out of the game to protect his arm and his career, and make sure he's ready for the next step, which is getting drafted and going into the minor leagues and building himself
But
up.
that Saint said, I wanted Paul Skeens out for the 9th inning.
I wanted Rhett
pitches.
Lauder and Paul Skeens to go 11 innings, but that's the fan in me. Thinking about it logically,
You
it
can
makes
argue
sense.
it both ways.
You can.
Quinn Matthews went out and threw 156 pitches.
Yeah,
Come
but Quinn Matthews is
he's going in the first round, isn't
yeah,
he?
but he's currently
Back end.
presenting a paper on the alternatives to Tommy John surgery. That man knows about his left arm. I'm not saying Rhett Lauder doesn't, but you got Wake with the pitching lab and the analytical people that ESPN's detailed all week long.
No, they love them. Pitching lab.
Listen, these guys know what they're doing. Like I wanted Rhett Lauder to come back. I was annoyed when he didn't come back out, but I get it. I understand.
The story is it didn't hurt him, like
Right.
you said.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really
and
matter.
Bringing in Manassi was not the wrong decision. For anybody who's saying, oh, they brought in a fireballer and Tommy White is a huge fastball hitter. He hit a slider, and it was on the outside part of the plate.
This is a guy who went viral.
Okay.
Albeit out of context.
Out of
context. But there's a clip that had been circulating since Monday's win over LSU of Manassi saying, who can beat us?
Yeah, but he's talking about the team as a family, not that.
And what their perspective is
Right.
and their approach.
Right.
However,
you can't beat our family atmosphere, the way we feel about each other, not who can't beat us or who can beat us in general.
That's raw meat for the Cage Tiger and that fan base. And they have ate themselves up.
Yeah, they've been lethal
Manassi over the last couple of days.
Twitter. Yeah.
Wake Forest fans and that program have been introduced to a very unique segment of society, and that is LSU Tiger fans. SEC fans in general, but LSU Tiger fans when they are good and when they have the talent and when they're competing at this high of a level, it's a sight to behold and to endure.
I do want to say this. Please stop tagging Cam Manassi and directly attacking him. That man is the greatest closer in college baseball this season. Stop. If you want to cheer and be happy, fine. But win with some dang class, okay? This man worked his ass off for a Wake Forest team that is the greatest team in Wake Forest history, and you're demeaning him because of one pitch that really Tommy White reached out and nailed in the appropriate spot. It wasn't a great pitch, but it wasn't horrible. Stop attacking him directly and tagging him. Just cheer for your team and be happy that you made the College World Series Finals.
Nice picture of Tommy White and Manassi afterwards as well, embracing because White had sought him out, as you had already mentioned. But again, those two from Tampa, they grew up. I don't know how close they were. You would use the word friends, but they know each other. They respect.
They played against each other, with each other. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Bennett Lee too. They're all from Tampa.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for White to seek him out, embrace him, give him a hug on the field afterwards, and two, I saw a video where LSU fan, because they shared the same hotel.
Yeah.
Wake and LSU, just to turn the volume up even more on these two and playing a best of 3 series. Everything again, we just think of it on a macro, or I guess it'd be more of a micro level. Just a best of 3 series we got out of LSU and Wake Forest. The only 2 teams have been ranked number 1 and number 2 all season long. Mm-hmm. And aside, LSU loses game 1 to Wake on Monday, has to come out of the losers bracket. And let's not forget, you've got a well-rested Florida who's got all their big guns lined up, well-rested, and waiting, just licking their chops. 2 teams that have not met yet all year either in LSU.
They didn't play in the regular season.
Now, we're partying like it's 2017. I get it. Florida beat LSU to win the College World Series title then, and it's also another All-SEC final. Kahn, I know you have numbers on that a little bit later on, but what I'm getting at is LSU won 2 out of 3 over Wake, in this regional style. Well, it became more of a super regional setting between those two. However, they also had to take care of Tennessee as like an aside in the process.
Twice.
Yeah. I mean, what a road.
Yeah.
What a route.
They've won 4 in a row.
And their pitching
Or
staff.
3 in a row. Sorry.
Let me see if I have the number. I'm trying to recall offhand. I think 46 innings. I have this in my head. 46 innings for LSU pitching.
Mm-hmm.
They've only allowed a run in 3 of those 46. 43 scoreless innings, that pitching staff. Insane.
I have the numbers. 1.57 ERA for LSU. 8 earned runs in 46 innings. Their starters, 1.93 ERA in 28 innings. Their bullpen, a 1 even ERA, 1.00, 2 earned runs in 18 innings. Like that's the one thing that's going to get overlooked in all of this.
Yeah.
How good was LSU's bullpen? Because remember, Wednesday, Javen Coleman went an inning and a third and was, he went 40-something pitches, whatever, and Jay Johnson was like, nope, we gone. Brings in Blake Money. He goes a third of an inning, 6 pitches, he gone. Yeah. Griffin Herring saves the day. But you talk about Blake Money, Gavin Guidry, Griffin Herring, Riley Cooper, Thatcher Hurd. That bullpen the last 2 days.
And Guidry.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to see him last night. But
10 and 2/3, 7 hits, no runs over the last 2 games.
Wow.
Which we have been saying the LSU bullpen is garbage.
We've been
trashing
They've
them.
been so much
and they
better
were amazing
since Hoover.
Yes.
And really, just before, like you can go by, I think that Georgia series, because that's where, and I said this, Thatcher Hurd coming in, wearing those 2 home runs that sent it to extra innings in Athens, weathering the storm. Jay Johnson said, look, I got no one else, kid. You got to ride this one out. And he ended up throwing, I think it was 4 or 5 innings after that as they played into extras. I think they played 13 innings, so it might have been 4 innings.
I think it was 5 innings.
Yeah. And he was sensational outside of the 2 home runs that tied the game to force extras. And I thought that could be kind of a lightning rod type moment for this team in that bullpen. And then we saw Thatcher Hurd back it up in Hoover. He was spectacular. Atkinson has been, phenomenal.
Oh, Nate.
Yeah.
Going out and giving that start on Tuesday against Tennessee.
Yeah, huge.
They had 2 shutouts. LSU has 2 shutouts in their last 3 games.
So we give the LSU pitching numbers. How about LSU, though? And I thought this comment was really revealing about the road that the Tigers had. You shared this with me last night. Who they played leading up to Omaha. They had to play teams like Tulane and Oregon State and Kentucky in their super. All these small ball, get them on, get them over. Like they're not looking for the big fly. Smart, aggressive, hard-nosed, gritty type teams that aren't going to overwhelm you. They've got to play smart, and they've got to execute. And that taught or prepared LSU in ways that a practice or a training session cannot do. You need those live game reps, and they became more accustomed to playing and defending that kind of baseball, a la what Trey Morgan was able to do in the 8th inning.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That play still has to be executed perfectly. You can practice it over and over and over again. That play, there are so many little, things that need to be done to get that done. And Tommy White said it last night after the game. He realized that he was going to bunt to first, and his first thought was, oh, no, they're going to score. Not Trey Morgan's going to make the play of the year and get him out. Tommy White thought it was 1-0 Wake already because he was back, Trey was back holding the runner on, and as soon as Merrick Houston squares, Morgan just darts in like a lightning bolt and scoops it up and does the little, softball toss, whatever, or like sidearm toss to the plate, and Milazzo, that picture has been circulating everywhere. Perfect tag on the shoulder. Justin Johnson was out. They challenged it. It was confirmed. There's the right call. And it was the right call for Wake. I'm pretty sure we were standing, and I looked at you and said they should bunt. And they did, and LSU made the play.
A shot-put-like throw from Trey Morgan on the run. He was still on, the cut of the infield dirt as that bunt was being put down. And let's not forget, too, it's Paul Skeens throwing. That ball is coming off the bat a lot harder than it would otherwise, which certainly aided the process and Trey Morgan being able to make that play. But, yeah, just the speed, being able to go from holding the runner on to then inching himself forward, getting the break that he had. And it's not like, and it was Justin Johnson at third, right? Who was tagged out. It's not like Johnson had a bad break either.
No.
It was actually, from a Wake Forest standpoint, it was executed as close to perfect as it can be. The reason why it wasn't perfect because the run didn't score.
Yeah.
You know?
And he did the swim slide. He tried to get around the tag. Milazzo just boom, boom. Like, I mean, you got to just shrug your shoulders and tip your cap and say, good job.
Was it that inning that got Johnson over to third because Milazzo on the wild pitch? Because remember, Milazzo, there was a pitch at one point in the game, too, that went back to the backstop.
I don't remember.
I don't know if that's what set Johnson up over at third.
No, I don't think so.
Because that was runners at the corners, nobody out in the eighth inning. That was the first out at the plate, right?
I think there was one out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was one out, and then the play at the plate was the second out. Because then they had runners. There was two outs. There was one out when that play happened. Because then there was two outs, first and second, and then.
All right, Johnson walked. Lee grounded out to first. That was a bunt, I believe, that forced Johnson to second. Winay struck out swinging. Winay, no Nick Kurtz. Kurtz never was able to pull a bat.
Rib injury.
Another element here, just.
Yeah, we didn't
another
talk about
gut
that.
punch.
Yeah.
You know, a guy who got hit by a pitch against Alabama in the Supers.
In the Supers, yeah.
And apparently had been playing through and working through something.
Had no idea. None of us knew that.
Unbeknownst to any of us.
Yeah.
And he's played in 3 games to this point, and he couldn't suit it. He suited up. He was in the lineup. He was a late scratch.
Couldn't swing.
20 to 30 minutes before first pitch. Tom Walter had to take him out because he just could not. It was too painful. And it was a talking point that was brought up time and time again last night. You know, would he be a bat? Tom Walter didn't rule it out. Like, he would be a bat off his bench.
He put a helmet on in the 11th inning.
He was ready to come in potentially at some point in extras. You just hate that for that kid because you could see it on his face, especially before first pitch when the cameras, were showing him there in the dugout. His eyes were red. And for him to be scratched like that and not be able to help his team when he's been such an integral part of a record-setting season for Wake Forest. Just another huge blow. Wake Forest 54-12, program records in wins, ACC wins, ACC series wins, postseason wins, overall wins. 3rd appearance ever in Omaha. They were seeking their first championship since '55. Number 1 overall seed. They took over from LSU late in the season, took that into the tournament. Again, plus 55 run differential in
going into Omaha.
Into Omaha, sweeping through their Winston-Salem Regional, just waxing Alabama, winning each of those 2 games by wide margins, and a team that has been that has put up some single season records historically that stack up among some of the best all time. Program record 779 strikeouts, 3rd in NCAA history. First team to sweep all series in ACC play since 2017. I can go on and on what Wake Forest has been able to do, but just to close the loop on that 8th inning as I was rolling through the play-by-play. So Winay struck out swinging. Reach first on the wild pitch. That's what it was.
Oh, that's right. Strikeout wild pitch. That's what
put Johnson at 3rd,
yes.
and it was runners at the corners with one out because of the Lee sacrifice bunt.
That's right.
So that's what
wild
happened.
Pitch.
And then Houston, who laid down the bunt, that's what got Johnson gunned out. Trey Morgan, terrific play. Just absolutely sensational. And again, we were saying the same thing about Wake Forest on Monday night. And it was Bennett Lee.
Yeah.
And it was Brock Wilkin. And then Lee had the RBI hit that brought home Danny Corona.
In the 8th inning.
Gosh.
Yeah.
These two. Just
deja vu is weird.
Historic. Amazing.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. We are prisoners of the moment, but it's hard not to think that this is going to hold as just an all-time matchup.
We do need to talk about the fact that Wake Forest didn't score for their last 18 offensive innings. From the 3rd inning on Wednesday through the game yesterday, Wake Forest did not score or run. The offense was the problem in Omaha. It was.
You have the numbers from Rob Anderson?
Yeah, they hit 165, scored 8 runs. 8 runs in 4 games. That's an average of 2 runs. They didn't score more than 3 in Omaha. That's after hitting 359 and averaging 15 runs a game in the first 5 games of the NCAA tournament. Now, those games were all here in the boombox. So when it came down to it, you go from the smallest ballpark.
You go from the boombox to the chuck box.
Right, to one of the biggest ballparks and the hardest ballpark to hit a home run out of, arguably, in all of college baseball. and it really hurt the Deacs. It really hurt. They hit 165. This is the first time Wake Forest lost back-to-back games all season, which, like, you kind of figure out because they didn't lose a series all year. But this is the first time they lost back-to-back games all season.
Got to move the fences back.
More?
At the couch.
Oh,
No,
at the couch. I was like, wait a minute.
You got to prepare him for Omaha, man, not just to get there. Come on.
I mean, you got to tip your cap to the pitching, man.
No, I know. It's
LSU's pitching was sensational. 18 consecutive scoreless innings. That's wild, especially without their bullpen was battered, torn.
They stepped up when it mattered most. They have stepped up.
Jay Johnson said Thatcher Hurd was the only guy he wanted to give the ball to last night. That's trust. That is pure trust in a dude who has had a very topsy-turvy 2023.
Thatcher Hurd, 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 47 pitches.
Yeah. God. We also need to bring this number up. Wake Forest stranded 18 runners on base in the last 2 games and it had 8 strikeouts looking.
18 in the last 2. Mm-hmm. They had 6 last night. So
12
they stranded
on Wednesday.
Holy smokes.
8 strikeouts looking in the last 2 games, too. 4 in each of the games, Wednesday, Thursday.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Strikeout looking, I know, was something that plagued Brock Wilken on Wednesday night
twice.
Quite a bit. Yeah, twice.
In the last 3
you and
innings.
I talked about that, and, yeah, it was contagious at times.
I do need to say, I have to say this, and people are going to be like, oh, you're umpire, whatever. The umpires were terrible. Tuesday.
It was more consistent Thursday night. That one up and away.
It was Tuesday and Wednesday, Monday and Wednesday. They were bad.
Yeah,
bad, horrible. Last night, I can live with. He was calling one a little bit outside, but he was very consistent with it. So like you can adjust because when you're a hitter and you know where the zone is going to be, as long as it's consistent. You can adjust and hit the baseball or at least, position yourself to put a better swing on one that may be outside because you know it's going to be called. But if you don't know where the strike zone is, you're screwed. And Monday and Wednesday, I had no clue where the strike zone was. The umpires were hellacious.
Yeah.
Needs to be fixed.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
Anything else on Wake and LSU?
I mean, listen, tip of the cap to Wake Forest, tip of the cap to Rhett Lauder. The dude goes 30-5. In his Wake Forest career. Wake Forest was 18-0 this season in games he started prior to last night, but 30-5 in a career for Rhett Lauder, top 10 pick. What a season. I mean, I certainly hope for the Demon Deacons this isn't a one-and-done type deal because they've been building to this moment and really had the team to go win it all. But look, if you're, there's always worry about a letdown season after being as good as Wake Forest was. We certainly saw it with Ole Miss this year, albeit due to injuries. But if you're a player wanting to go to one of the premier teams in the country that has, the premier facilities and premier, analytics and setups like Wake Forest does with the pitching lab, how could you not want to go to the Deacs?
30-5, you said?
Rhett Lauder, yeah.
Gosh.
Like
All-American, all-conference,
yeah.
Pitcher of the Year for the ACC.
Yeah.
Not just this year, last year.
Last year, 2 times.
Last year as well.
But, here's the thing. We talk about transfer portal this year especially. Well, who's the dudes that got it done? Paul Skeens, Air Force transfer. Thatcher Hurd, UCLA transfer. Tommy White, NC State transfer. 3 transfers won the game for LSU last night. So
portal. Right
yeah,
here.
Portal.
We hadn't even mentioned it until now.
Portal.
Took, 20 minutes in?
But Wake Forest, I think, can really run some big guys out of that portal. And there's a lot of dudes in the portal right now. We did see Colby Shelton go interconference switching from Alabama to the Gators. But, dude, there's some dudes in the portal. Luke Holman just hopped in from Alabama. There's a bunch of people in the portal. I mean, Tom Walter and Corey Mascara, go shopping. Because you're going to lose some guys. Like, Rhett Lauder's gone. We know that. And a host of others are going to be gone. But, go shopping.
Go get Luke Holman.
Go get him. There are opportunities to keep this team at the level that it was this year.
So how do we view what LSU is doing any differently because of the influence of the transfer portal? Because you just said it. Skeens, Hurd, White. The 3 key contributors that help push them past Wake Forest and into the Men's College World Series Final. Jay Johnson has made no bones about it. I mean, hey, he's put everyone on notice. If you're a team around the country and you're not dipping into the transfer portal and exhausting those resources to the best of your abilities, you're doing it wrong. Why would you not? It's a tool in the toolbox that was never before available until 2 years ago. But Jay Johnson is proving, even Florida and Kevin O'Sullivan, B.T. Rypel coming from Alabama last year, Hurston Waldrop coming from Southern Miss.
You mean Matt Cassetti?
Didn't Rypel? Rypel was already there. Yeah, Cassetti.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Yeah. Cassetti went to Alabama from Florida.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have Waldrop there from Southern Miss.
Right.
So this is the new way.
Yeah.
You don't have to go all in. Like, there's varying levels. But Jay Johnson is showing you, like, you can go pretty much all in, and still cultivate the guys that you do have, and you still put together a top recruiting class. Like, look, nobody can operate the way LSU does. They're LSU. Nobody can operate the way Florida does. Wake Forest takes a special kind of person to go there. But still, you've got to be able to push all the right buttons. Do we look at this through any different lens or prism based on how LSU has been able to put this together?
I don't think it's fair to do so simply because this is the era we're in. And it's what Jay Johnson said. How can you not use all of the tools available to you to build the team you want to build to go win it all? That's the goal. He said it on January 14th. We saw it. Our goal is to win a national championship. Well, he built the team to go win a national championship.
Yeah.
Like, you tipped a cap. I mean, he said, come to LSU, and all these players said, okay. Like, that's what you got to go do. The transfer portal era is alive and well. The restrictions have been relaxed a little bit, and people are taking advantage of it. So, yeah, it's harder, and we've talked about this, for mid-majors and maybe lower-level Power 5 teams to, fight for the big names with an LSU, a Florida, an Alabama, a Wake Forest, or whatever. But, like, there's people out there. Go get them. Go get your guys. See what you can do. See if you can build a super team. LSU's done it. I mean, Florida's done it. Like, they didn't have as many transfers as LSU did, but Hurston Waldrop has been the star of the postseason for the Gators.
Yeah.
And he was on Southern Miss last year. So I don't know that it's fair to do so, because it's the era we're in. You play with the cards you're dealt. And LSU's coming up with a royal flush.
Again, we'll hear from our Bracket Challenge champion before we exit the podcast today. College World Series Finals begin, LSU and Florida. 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern on Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern Monday if necessary. Let's talk about the Gators. Michael Robertson, how about we start there? Braden Taylor for TCU, who had an RBI earlier in the game. What a game this was. 3-2, Florida winning all three of their games in Bracket 1 by one run. By one run. So they sweep their way through. They go 3-0. They're sitting pretty. They're waiting. They're hoping LSU can beat Wake Forest on Wednesday so those two can go head-to-head again on Thursday. It happened. They're hoping at this point they both can play 20 innings, which at times it felt like they would play 20 innings on Thursday night. I think I looked at you at one point and said, this is going 15-16, man. I got my daughter here at the restaurant. Yeah, she's got the tablet fired up. I'm like, look, I rationed out 10 o'clock, 3 hours for this. Okay, it's about 10 o'clock. I'm leaving after this half inning. Boom, Tommy White gone. See ya.
He heard you.
So Florida is going to be fully rested and ready to go. But my goodness, what a way to put an exclamation point on their run through bracket number 1. Michael Robertson, who comes in as a pinch runner, who scores what was the go-ahead game-winning run, I believe, in the top of the 9th inning. I'll have to pull up the –
I don't think it was Robertson. I think they brought in somebody else.
Yeah, scored pinch runner Michael Robertson. It was Cade Kurlands.
Was that score Robinson? I
Yeah.
thought that was somebody. Okay, well,
Cade
sure.
Kurlands' RBI single scored Michael Robertson,
Okay.
who was inserted as a pinch runner in the 9th. So then he comes in as a defensive replacement.
Right.
And Robertson was a starter for much of the year.
Yeah.
But he struggled with the bat, and that is an understatement. He was going through, I think it was like an 0 for 26, 0 for 27 slump, 1 of 33 at one point. And once they got to the NCAA tournament, after Hoover, Sully was like, look, I got to make a change. So Robertson has not been in the lineup at a level of regularity that he had been accustomed to. So he gets put in. He goes to center. Langford, I think, moves to left. 2 outs. Your closer's in. Your all-world closer, Brandon Neely, is in. 2 quick outs on TCU. And then Braden Taylor comes to the plate. The menacing Braden Taylor. And just hammers one. Launches it. pisses on it in ways that very few humans can piss on a baseball.
Yeah.
And he hit to the deepest part of the ballpark, where 99% of the time this is gone at any major league ballpark. And Michael Robertson had a beat on it and is going back, levitated up against the wall, crashed into it, made the catch, absorbed the contact, ball game over. Incredible ending.
Yeah, it's storybook ending, in fact, because you talk about the way that game started. Josh Rivera hit a 2-run homer in the first inning, and you're like, well, thanks for coming out, TCU. It's over.
Yeah.
And, you have Jack Caglione on the mound, who we've talked about his struggles, but he's been pitching better. He labored.
Cags reminds me of golf on Sundays, the perfect napping sport, because I slept late. I watched first pitch with Cags. I woke up after breakfast. I took the day off.
Yep.
And I went right to sleep.
Yep.
And that's like the third or fourth time. Because, again, Sundays, Cags normally go in day 3. So it just felt like a Sunday with Cags on the mound Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, he threw 35 pitches in the first inning, and you're just like, ooh, like this isn't going to be good. But he battled back. He only gave up a run in 4 1/3. The Gators' bullpen, though, was tremendous, only giving up 3 hits. You have the Cade Curlin RBI single in the 9th, the freshman coming through to score the go-ahead run, and then Michael Robertson. We've talked about how hard it is to hit a home run in Omaha. Get this. So there have been 19 homers hit in the College World Series so far. The Gators have 7 of them. The Gators have 7 of 19. That's nuts. The rest of the field has 12 total. That's wild. So, look out. Florida has now tied their program record for wins in a season with 53. They've since facing – this is a crazy stat that I saw. Since facing elimination in the regionals against Texas Tech, Florida has gone 8-0. They've outscored their opponents 44-18, and they've hammered 15 homers in those 8 games, and they've only allowed 2. They only allowed 2 homers. So not only has their offense been on fire, but their pitching has contained the long ball. So well done to the Gators. They are firing on all cylinders. Kevin O'Sullivan said, look, we feel great. I've got Sproat game 1, Waldrop game 2, Cags game 3. Line it up, see if you can beat us. He has put it out there in the world that he feels like his team is in the perfect position. And you know what? He's right.
They're yoked at every spot.
Yeah. That lineup is just nasty.
The clip is filled, and he's going to empty it when necessary.
Oh.
No ifs, ands, or buts without it.
Yeah.
He's going to unload everything he has. That Florida team is as prepared as any heading into a championship series.
No doubt about it.
They are at full strength. How about Sully, too, with the T-shirt?
Oh,
yes, I can count to 6.
Yes, after we talked about on Tuesday with him messing up or forgetting about the number of mound visits, I guess forgetting is the only way you can put it, that he had. So a staffer went to the mall, I believe is the story I heard on ESPN, and printed the shirts that says, yes, I can count to 6, and Kevin O'Sullivan was wearing it throughout the day. It was great. I mean, I love a coach that can laugh at their own mistakes.
And, of course, it's one size smaller than what he should be wearing because he's Kevin O'Sullivan and he's jacked himself.
He wants to show it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, what do they put in the water in Gainesville? Because every single
the name of the town is Gainesville, Kahn. What more do you need to know? Gaines. I need to take up residence there.
You do.
Put me in the swamp, damn it.
You just want to live with Cags.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine
Dude, my worlds are colliding. LSU, Florida,
and Cags.
The amount of man crushes and
my God.
Male specimen power that exists amongst both teams.
If I put you in a room with Jack Caglione, Paul Skeens, and Dylan Cruz, the 3 Golden Spikes Award finalists, what would you do?
Well, you got to give me another from Florida. Give me Langford.
Who do you want?
Yeah, give me Wyatt.
Okay, I put you in the room with those 3 and Wyatt Langford, who could be a top 3 draft pick. What would you do?
Man, I would just sit there and try to make myself fit in as best I can and ask questions that I feel like they would answer. I don't know. I would try.
No. This doesn't have to be like a formal setting. Like you're just hanging out with these guys. You've got these 4 dudes and you. What are you doing? Like what's your activity of choice with those 4 guys?
Oh, what would I do with these 4?
Yeah. You're not like interviewing. This is like Tom Rinaldi on like a 30 for 30. This is you, Kyle Schassburger, with Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Wyatt Langford, Jack Caglione, night on the town. What are you getting up to?
Night on the town would begin probably with some
pickleball. Okay.
Let's find some pickleball courts.
Yes.
You know? Let's test our mettle with some pickleball, and then we'd probably go and do like a little happy hour somewhere,
Sure.
and then find some live music and just a little bar hop and probably water it down with I don't know, a nice stogie or something. Like it'd be a gentleman's night. Like
and
no
what,
women are allowed in.
No, of
okay?
course not. Yeah.
Like they're all gonna want in, obviously,
yeah.
because of me, first of all. And then Cags, and then Cruz, and then Langford, and then Skeens, in that order. In that order.
Okay. You think Skeens is last?
Yeah.
On the
if I were to rank their looks,
Okay.
It's definitely Cags one. Okay, without question.
Okay.
I might have to go Braden Jobert.
Okay.
Number one. Remember when I made that comment?
You
I'm like,
did.
Jobert looks like he's got a Netflix future.
You did. You said he's a future movie star.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, of these guys, Cags, Cruz, Langford, and then Skeens.
And you're number one, though, ahead of all of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, hands down.
And then
I'd be the ultimate. No, look, I'd be the ultimate wingman. Okay, I would be the ultimate wingman.
You left out the fact that in the morning when you're nursing your hangovers, y'all are going to the gym to sweat it out.
Oh, gains, absolutely.
Yeah.
2-hour sesh.
I do need to ask you this question. Is Tommy White the final member of the All Shass squad this year?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah. We can close the book on the All Shass squad.
Okay. I feel like he earned it.
Our final episode, we will have one more show.
Yes, next week.
Following the series. Likely, Tuesday's probably the best.
Maybe.
Because
we'll figure it out.
Monday can get busy.
We're going to try and get a good interview, though, so if we can't get it on Tuesday, we may push. We'll let you know.
Yeah. We'll have one final episode at one point next week to close the book on the 23 season, but we will unveil one more time or reveal and remind you who those All Shass Squad members are.
It's a loaded list.
It is.
Brad Bohannon, I heard, signed the deal to be your bench coach, by the way.
He did. It's checks in the mail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Congratulations.
He's got debts he's got to pay off, and I want to help him as best I can. Hey, if I could send him $10,
yeah.
If everyone in America can send Brad Bohannon $10,
yeah.
Okay. Even $1, man.
All right.
Just send him $1.
Let's talk a little TCU because we didn't on Tuesday and we should have. So we talked about Braden Taylor.
Do we have to? All I want to talk about is Cole Klecker. All right.
Yeah, that's where I was
Happy
going.
Gilmore's caddy.
That's where I was going.
It's Happy Gilmore's caddy.
I was going Cole Klecker because the most impressive part about TCU's, we talked about their offense. They were firing on all cylinders. They'd won 11 in a row coming into Omaha. We thought maybe they could give Florida or Virginia some trouble, and they did. They also had trouble with Oral Roberts, though, before they knocked them out on day 5 of the College World Series. But Cole Klecker, I mean, that man's a freshman, and he's coming in and making 2 dynamite starts on the biggest stage in college baseball. You talk about a man who could lead TCU to the promised land in a couple years when he gets to Rhett Lauder's, level of maturity. Goodness gracious, that man is a stud.
So he went, here's his NCAA tournament. Against Arizona, he only went 4 innings. He did allow 3 runs on 4 hits. But Indiana State, 7 innings, 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, and 1 walk. 101 total pitches. Oral Roberts, 5 innings, 5 hits, just 1 run, struck out 1 and walked 1, 87 pitches. And then 64 pitches in 5 innings, but 6 hits of 5-inning baseball, 6-hit baseball across 5 innings, 2 runs, both earned, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he was a constant. You knew what you were getting. He was able to bridge the gap, get you from point A to point B. Sure, his best start in the postseason was the Indiana State game. However, to your point, in the biggest moments, he stepped up in ways, TCU most desperately needed him. And he rose to the occasion. And the fact that he's only a freshman, to your point, God, if you're Kirk Saarloos,
oh my God,
don't go in the transfer. Like, I'm sorry, my mind just goes
please
there.
don't go in the transfer.
Is it wrong
Cole
that
Klecker, do not leave?
Like LSU's gonna go up and snatch you?
Maybe.
Like, I don't know.
So TCU goes 44-24 this year, 13-11 in the Big 12. They were like 5th place in the conference, but they won the tournament. So
Hottest team entering the tournament.
Correct.
I think.
24-11 at home, 10-9 on the road. But this is not what was supposed to happen for this team, right? This is year 2 of the Kirk Saarloos era after Jim Schlossnagle went to Texas A&M.
And the last time they were in, again, this was what, their 7th, 8th appearance?
Something like that.
But they're all since like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
The last was 17.
17 when Florida knocked them out and then faced LSU in the finals. Deja vu.
So same 3 of 4.
Deja vu. Yeah, Wake Forest was the only odd man out of that 2017 series. But, yeah, it's the same thing. Florida beat TCU. LSU knocked off the number 1 team at that point twice to get to face Florida, and Florida won. So it's literally the same thing happened 6 years later.
Cole Klecker on his bio page, he's wearing, I did not know. By the way, his look-alike, was, I've already said, the caddy
Happy
for
Gilmore
Happy
caddy.
Gilmore.
Yep.
Okay, so he will be a future caddy.
Okay.
Maybe he could be Will Zalatoris' caddy once Will recovers from injury.
Oh.
Because Will Zalatoris is also the love child or doppelganger of Happy Gilmore's caddy.
Yes. Okay.
So,
all right. Very good.
And they both live in Texas. So
perfect.
And in the Fort Worth, Dallas area.
Oh.
We need to get Cole Klecker and
Will
Zalatoris together. What do I got to do to broker that deal? I think I got Will's cell phone.
Oh, yeah, because you interviewed him.
Yeah.
Text him right now. Be like, hey, Will, I got a caddy for you.
Anyways, Cole in his player bio, he's wearing a fresh. I didn't know TCU had these white pinstripes with the purple stripes, and it says just frogs in the script across.
That's their home jersey.
I love that.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
All right, let's set the stage for before we set the stage for the College World Series Finals. Do you want to hear from Dustin?
Okay, Dustin is our bracket challenge winner. He insisted that he would have time on the podcast and that he deserves it.
He does.
He has some words that he would like to share, kind of a award acceptance speech, if you will. So Dustin Johnson, not the Live PGA golfer, Dustin Johnson, but your neighborhood beer man.
2023 Division I Men's College World Series bracket champion, Dustin Johnson. This is the man. First time ever doing a baseball bracket. I'd say I did pretty well. Started the regionals, 84th in the country, or 84th out of the 14,000 people that were participating. Fell off after the regionals and super regionals, was still top 1,000. I was like placing 600 range. And I was told that the LSU Tigers would not make it to the final game, that Wake would be the first number 1 seed since, the 1999 number 1 seed overall that made it. But they did not. They lost to the LSU Tigers, who were able to kick some booty. And now with LSU winning, I am the champ. Thank you.
Very good from Dustin. He sped it up a little bit at the end, like he was running out of time. Like I told him, like, hey, if you got a minute, give me a minute. Well, he held himself to that. So I think
47 seconds.
47 seconds. He could have given me a little bit more, man. It's okay. You don't got to rush. He started off real hot and then kind of sputtered at the end of that. But, hey, we appreciate him, wanting to put himself in that position and speak to our audience. And I know he's super excited, super thrilled to have earned this honor. So I thought it was appropriate that we presented him the time. And, your neighborhood beer man, that was him following the conclusion of his shift on a Friday morning of hitting all the neighborhood grocery stores and gas stations and convenience stores and making sure everybody is going to be properly hydrated for this upcoming weekend and the College World Series.
He got 11 of the 16 teams right, winning the regionals. In the College World Series brackets, he got 4 teams right: Florida, Virginia, TCU, and LSU. And he has LSU winning over Virginia.
Very good. He's able to hold off Big Dave, our resident NC State fan. But 623 overall is his rank out of
pretty good. 14,000
brackets that were submitted. Is there a way, when I was looking at this at D1Baseball.com, many thanks again to the guys at D1Baseball.com for providing this service. Of course, we lean on them so much throughout the year to help us in our coverage of this great sport, from Kendall Rogers to Mike Rooney to Aaron Fitt, Mark Etheridge, of course, Joe Healy, our boy. And
dude, can we talk about Joe Healy's
Stephen Chalk
outfits?
and others? Man, that
dude's bringing the heat.
I need to know where he shops.
I know.
I need one of
those
those
thrift
shirts.
stores. It definitely is not.
I don't think I can fit as snugly in one of those as he does.
That man's got pythons.
He does.
He's jacked. He needs to live in Gainesville.
Mike Rooney.
He's moving into the apartment with you, Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Tommy White, and Wyatt Langford, and Caglione.
Oh, man.
6-man apartment, Joe Healy, Kyle Schassburger, Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Tommy White, Wyatt Langford, and 7. Caglione. That's a 7-person apartment of just jacked dudes.
This is like an episode
and Caden Grice, too.
of Jersey Shore.
2 4-person apartments.
Or Floribama Shore. Like, what would we name this reality show, the 6 of us?
I don't know.
Get your suggestions in at CS Now.
No
Tweets
idea.
At Kyle Schass, at SportsCon4. I'll try to think of something before the end of the day. I will be hung up on this.
Yes, you will. The rest of the day.
For the rest of the day. I might spend 4 hours at the gym thinking about this.
You didn't already go to the gym this morning?
No, I'm going.
Look, got you
as
beat,
soon
bro.
as Pudge is getting picked up by my ex-wife here at the office,
Yep.
she's going to the beach. I am kid-free all weekend.
Going to the gym.
Granted, I have to work at the golf course tomorrow and Sunday, which, is
Fine.
not ideal. However, yes, I'm going to the gym.
All right.
I've got a late afternoon of gym time, and I will brainstorm.
All right. I'll be thinking as well.
Before I, act on, hopefully, what will become some scintillating plans for the evening, too.
Sure.
So, yes. All right, Florida and LSU. LSU is making their 8th visit to the College World Series Final. First time since 2017 when they met Florida and lost. The Gators won 2 out of 3. Florida is making their 4th appearance in the championship series, seeking their 2nd ever championship. Their first coming in 17 against LSU. Now, LSU has won 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last coming in
2009.
So, historically, that's where we stand between these two programs. Give me what you got, though, from a Southeastern Conference standpoint. Because
Amazing.
the SEC,
Woo.
as proud as they can be,
Yeah.
right back there already knowing that they're claiming another national championship.
So a couple of notes. This will be the 4th consecutive SEC baseball team to win the national championship because you had Vanderbilt in 2019, Mississippi State in 2021, and Ole Miss last year, 2022, winning the national championship. Since 2009, this will be the 9th national title for an SEC team, and it's the 4th time since 2009 that we've had an all-SEC final between those years 2009 to now, and those 3 are, as I pull it up because I tweeted it earlier today, those 3 are
We had
Mississippi
Florida,
State,
LSU.
Vanderbilt in 2021 because Vandy tried to defend and Mississippi State won. Florida LSU in 2017.
And then what was South Carolina and Florida?
In what year?
Is that 11?
Yep, that's
Okay.
it. That's the last one.
All right.
Yep, so Mississippi State, Vandy 2021, Florida LSU in 2017, and South Carolina and Florida in 2011 were the 3 times since 2009 they've had an all-SEC final. But we're going to have a 4th straight SEC baseball national champion. If you need any more to determine that the SEC is the best conference in college baseball, you're wrong.
Okay, is this bad? Is this good?
No, it's fine.
I think it's fine, too.
You can't be
Yeah, but there's too many people. Look, there's too many people that don't follow the sport. Look, we
Right.
live this every day. We're
Yeah.
trying to sell the cheese, sell the sport. We love to cover it. College baseball, never more indicative than Thursday night. What we got in LSU Wake Forest, how great this
Amazing.
game and this sport is, and how it can deliver. Okay, and how it should not be taking a backseat to the NBA draft.
Oh, my God. Put that thing on ESPN News. Nobody cares. Jeez. It's like a 3-hour event. First of all, some of the suits those dudes were wearing last night. Grady Dick, what were you wearing?
Did you see the headline
Yeah.
on the local newspaper?
Yeah.
Big picture
Yeah.
of Grady Dick dunking the basketball. Energy in bold letters right
Yes.
underneath.
Yes.
Amazing. And some of the memes on Grady Dick, that was pretty good.
I mean, he wore a red sparkly suit. Good for you for flexing and showing it off, but I don't know who chose that for you. I don't know. I don't know if it was the right outfit choice.
Some of the memes talking about ice skating scores.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Olympic ice skaters.
Drafted 14th, but might move up to 13th after the all skate competition or something. It was so good. Anyway,
And listen, he's going to go on and be an otherworldly player in the NBA, so good for him. Make a
Yes.
lot more money than you and I ever will.
and Wembanyama going to the
Victor
Spurs.
Wembanyama.
And the Bulls, who didn't even have a draft pick, apparently traded back in and got some guy named Phillips out of Tennessee.
Whatever.
I have
The
no idea. Who
Celtics
cares?
traded a pick, too.
They're
I don't know.
terrible. They're bad.
Anyway.
What was that? What was I just talking about? I have no. Oh, the sport. Is it good or is it bad? So we sell this every day.
Yeah.
We love college baseball. Not enough people still understand the game or care to understand the game.
Right.
So they just, they look at the low-hanging fruit and they see, SEC again, SEC this. Why can't somebody else win? Where's the parity? What's going on? That argument's always out there. The SEC is ruining the sport or ruining the game. And you hear it in football too. The super leagues and the conferences and all that. What does this mean for the future of college athletics? Is this good? What can we do to increase the parity? Well, look, if the SEC is going to keep doing this, this is a constant challenge, another reminder in putting everyone else on notice around the country to get their shit together, okay, and recruit better, leverage your resources, get the right leadership in place, and recruit more uniquely, effectively, creatively, utilize the portal, utilize NIL, like adapt or die, as Billy Beane would say, Mr. Brad Pitt himself in Moneyball. Figure it out, okay? Nothing's going to be handed to you. You're not born with a silver spoon. And those in the SEC weren't born with a silver spoon.
No.
It was Skip Bertman that changed the way. Ron Polk, who changed the way this league was perceived.
They've invested in their programs.
It
That's
takes
it.
time, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like, that's the
No.
other thing. This isn't going to happen overnight. Look at Gonzaga basketball. You think Mark Few birthed the Bulldogs into the program that they are overnight? No. That was like a 20-year burn, a slow burn. And now they have established themselves as a team that arguably can be considered a blue blood. Although I
Look
wouldn't
at
go.
Oklahoma softball.
I wouldn't call them that yet because they haven't won a title. Oklahoma softball, same thing. I don't know. Maybe you know the numbers. Were they really bad at one time? I don't know. But nobody cared about them.
They've won 53 games in a row.
They've won 3 straight titles. First team to do that since '88.
Right.
So, look.
Since by the way, UCLA, not an SEC team.
The success of your competitor. This goes for business.
Yeah.
Seeing your competitors, okay, achieve the amount of success that they are should make you look inward, take inventory in ways that maybe you previously hadn't before, and this should harvest and cultivate some deep thinking, critical, problem-solving like skills on how do we climb up out of this? How do we do better? What do we do?
I don't
like,
know.
do better. Do better.
Like, just invest in your programs. If you are a Wake Forest, a Virginia, a TCU, a Oral Roberts, a Indiana State, a Clemson, I don't know. Auburn just unveiled new plans for a new ballpark, and it looks phenomenal. But, yeah, I know they're in the SEC. Who cares? West Virginia. Invest in your programs. You have the teams to do it, to win it all. Just you need to do it. You need to put forth the necessary resources.
So we're seeing these
one-offs, and it's not all financial, by the way.
Yeah.
Like everyone's gonna say, "Oh, they don't have enough money. We don't have the money for the SEC teams." You don't need money. You need to recruit the right way. Get these people to want to come to your campus to go win a national championship. Take down, promote the fact that look, we want to be the team that knocks the SEC off their ridiculously high horse. We want to be the new king of the 7 realms, to bring a Game of Thrones into this. Like, we want to slay the Goliath. Jay Johnson called Wake Forest a giant last night. That's a hell of a compliment to give.
Yes,
and it's right. They are a giant. But come slay the conference giant. If you want to do it, put the team together and recruit with the message that says, we want to be the team to do it. Come be a part of that team. If I'm a player, I'm fired up to go do that.
And look, you've got to look at programs of similar stature if you want to, like if you're Indiana State, how do you sustain, right? Sustainability now is the name of the game.
Yeah.
What are you going to do following this record-setting season? Hosting a regional. Should have hosted a super, didn't. I get it. Unfortunate, whatever. Good reasons.
Yes.
Why? But look at Oral Roberts. Similar team, okay? Similar program. I'm sure similar resources, okay? What has Oral Roberts done to own the Summit League year after year after year? And I know that they were in a different league for at some point, returned back to the Summit League. Either way, they've owned the Summit League. They lost 1 game in the league. They made it to Omaha for the second time.
They won games in Omaha.
So for like you mid-majors out there, look at ORU. Look at Indiana State, and hopefully Indiana State is going to be able to parlay this into more.
Look at Coastal Carolina.
Coastal, great example.
Look at
Great
UNC
example.
Wilmington.
Look at Dallas Baptist.
Yeah.
Now they have yet to get to Omaha. Look at East Carolina.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Go to their facility.
That's it.
Look at what they have built.
Yeah.
And what they're working with. Still a team trying to get to Omaha. But you've got to look, you've got to find these market samples that are very similar to yourself.
Yep.
Now, those other, like ECU doesn't want to be compared to you if you're trying to catch up to them. But still, you want to be them. Don't set your goals so low. Don't try to be LSU.
You can't.
Don't try to be Alabama.
Yeah.
And I know Alabama might be more on the bottom end of the spectrum in terms of resources and what they're willing to spend. I don't know what the figures are for Rob Vaughn, but Maryland's another example. Like, was Maryland doing enough to keep Rob Vaughn? They couldn't. Could Michigan do enough to keep Eric Package at Michigan? No. You can't.
Not with the allure
so,
of going
like,
back to the
unfortunately,
ACC.
you're going to lose some of these for obvious reasons. An opposite example, to see how quickly you can fall, somebody like Rice.
Yeah.
A mid-major team who is a mainstay, permanent fixture, okay, in the postseason, in getting to Omaha, winning the 2003 national championship under Wayne Graham. Where are they at now? They can barely sniff their own league tournament even when they're hosting.
Yep.
Comes down to the final weekend where they're able to sneak their way in. Like, it's an embarrassment. And the reason being is because they don't care about baseball anymore from the top down. There's no investment. It was once there, but it's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you got
it's all about invest, like you said.
It's all about invest. Can we, going back to reframing the College World Series Finals, I want to take a second to appreciate the fact that all 3 Golden Spikes Award finalists, Cags, Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, are in the finals, and probably the top 3 picks, because Cags is not getting drafted this year. He's a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
He's not eligible. Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Wyatt Langford, probably in that order, 1, 2, 3, are all in the College World Series Finals. I just want to take a second to appreciate that. That's phenomenal. Holy smokes.
We talked about it before the College World Series got underway, the amount of star power, top to bottom, how uniquely special this field of 8 was because of the personnel on each of these teams and the notoriety and the national acclaim that all of them were getting, not just from a college baseball accolade standpoint, but the hype as it comes to the MLB amateur draft that will take place at the All-Star break coming up in a month, in July. 3 weeks, 2 weeks at this point. So,
did you see that Paul Skeens has more strikeouts this year than 2 NCAA Division I teams overall?
No.
Mississippi State has 207, and Hartford has 199. Hartford, fine. Mississippi State has less strikeouts than Paul Skeens does as a team by 2. Yeah.
What's Josh Rivera projected as in the draft?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Because he's draft eligible. Because part of me thinks there might be 4 of the top 10. I want to say Rivera's in that top 10 too. Because we know Langford, Skeens, and Cruz could go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I think we both agree they're top 5 in some order. And I think it's Cruz or Skeens.
So right now we've got number 1, Cruz to the Pirates. Number 2, Skeens to the Nationals. Number 3, Langford to the Tigers. Number 4 is Walker Jenkins, a high schooler. Max Clark, a high schooler. Number 6 to the Athletics, Kyle Teal. Number 7, Rhett Lauder to the Reds. Number 8, Jacob Wilson, Grand Canyon star, shortstop.
Yeah, we forgot all about him because they were bad.
Yeah, exactly. High schooler at number 9, Jacob Gonzalez, number 10, Bradfield at 11, high schooler at 12, Maryland shortstop Matt Shaw at number 13, Aiden Miller, Walker Martin, Braden Taylor at 18, Chase Dolander at 20, Hurston Waldrop at 21.
What are you reading from? MLB.com?
CBS.
CBS?
MLB mock draft is what I'm looking at right now. That came out 5 days ago. Tommy Troy at 28. I'm not seeing Langford, or not Langford, Josh Rivera in the first 28 picks of this mock draft.
Okay.
That's just one. I'm looking at one of them, obviously, but that's what I've got.
Interesting.
Let's see if we can see the Baseball America one, or if they're gonna pay. Are they gonna paywall me? Yep, they're gonna paywall me. Screw you.
Oh, I love it. I mean, he's one of the top 3. Behind. Look at your shortstops in college baseball. It'd be Jacob Wilson, Josh Rivera, and Jacob Gonzalez. Those.
Rivera's not listed on the MLB.com mock draft as of June 1st.
Okay.
So, at least not in the first round. He will get drafted, but
yeah, if he's not going in the first, he's going to the second round. I would argue he's a first rounder, but I got it.
There's only so many picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Only so many
he's
picks.
a draft eligible junior. He will go. Yeah. Him, Langford, Cags won't. Sproat, Waldrop. I mean, they're all.
But to answer your question or your statement of, can we appreciate the star power and the 3 Golden Spikes Award finalists, has that ever happened? I'd highly doubt it.
I don't have the data to know. Hopefully Rob Anderson or ESPN Stats and Info can figure that out. I'm sure they can. But Skeens is going to win the Golden Spikes Award. I mean, it's not a debate. Dylan Cruz had a phenomenal season. So is Jack Caglione. But Paul Skeens is going to win the award. If he doesn't, that's a disservice to the game, honestly. He's got 209 strikeouts. The guy's unbeatable.
So let's just look at the last few. So Ivan Melendez didn't even make the final. Was in Omaha, though.
Yep.
Kevin Kopps, Arkansas, didn't even make the College World Series.
Yep.
Adley Rushman in 19, Oregon State.
They were
No, because that was Vanderbilt, Michigan in the final.
Yeah, they didn't.
They might have been
finals.
in the
They
field,
were in
but
the
I'm
field,
just
I
thinking
think.
of the finals.
Yeah.
Andrew Vaughn, Cal. I don't even know if they made a regional in 18. I'm sure they did, but 17, Brendan McKay, Louisville, two-way stud.
They weren't in the finals.
No,
that was Florida LSU.
They were in the College World Series, though. Kyle Lewis Mercer in 2016. Okay. Andrew Benintendi, Arkansas in 15. That, I think, was a Vandy, Virginia final.
Well, Virginia TCU was 2014.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It wasn't Arkansas, though.
No. I don't
A.J.
remember.
Reed, man, looking at some of these guys. A.J. Reed, Kentucky.
It's a star-studded
Two-way
list.
guy in 14.
Here's a cool thing.
Chris Bryant.
Leah Van tweeted this at some point on like the string of tweets she's been putting out. Sorry, Rob Anderson tweeted this. My bad. Shout out to Rob Anderson. That dude is a treasure trove of stuff. He tweeted this earlier today, about 2 hours ago. 11 men from the 2017 Florida and LSU teams that met in the College World Series Finals are already in the majors. 11 men. For Florida, you've got Dalton Guthrie, Jonathan India, Mark Collis, I don't know how to say that, Collisveri, Brady Singer, Alex Fado, and Jackson Kowar. For LSU, you got Kramer Robinson, Greg Diekman, Josh Smith, Michael Popierski, and Alex Lang.
Alex Lang was drafted by the Cubs. I have no idea where he is now, though.
Well, I can tell you, India's on the Reds. Singer and Kowar are on the Royals.
India's, I think, the best player out of that entire group.
Probably.
Because I think he's a
in
regular
the,
starter.
In the bigs, yeah,
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, Kowar and Singer are getting there,
Yeah.
pitching-wise. But India's the best player, probably.
Yeah, because that's the first.
I have no idea where Guthrie or Collisveri or Dykeman or Smith or Diekman, Smythe or Smith and Popierski are. I have no idea.
Michael Papierski is how you say it. Yeah, I remember him.
Papierski?
Yeah,
Apologies.
He was a baller, man.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him.
I think that was the first year without Bregman. Might have been the second.
Yeah, Bregman left at 16.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. I don't get anything else, man. Is there anything else to talk about?
Well, we got to pick. Who's going to win?
Oh, goodness. Well, I got to go with Florida.
You're
Don't
sticking
I?
with him? Yeah, you have to. I figured you'd switch.
I got to stick to my guns.
Okay, so you're going Florida.
I'll go Florida.
So you pick. We'll remind you.
Florida in 3.
You picked Florida at the beginning of the year to win it all. You picked them in our finals preview. So okay,
yeah,
fair enough. You have Florida in 3.
Florida in 3.
Okay. I'm going to go Florida, but I'm going Florida in 2. Paul Skeens doesn't make another start. That's my hot take. Paul Skeens' last start in a college uniform was last night. That is the way he goes out, and it's fitting. Paul Skeens does not take them out again for LSU. Brandon Sproat, Hurston Waldrop, outduel whoever the hell Jay Johnson throws out there. I don't know who he's going to throw. I mean, he's going to throw Ty Floyd on Saturday. That's very obvious. Who's he throwing on Sunday? Who's he got?
It's going to be Atkins.
Because Thatcher Hurd is his arm's going to fall off for how many pitches he's throwing.
It's going to be Atkinson. It's going to be Coleman only threw, 2 innings?
Coleman's available. Nate Ackenhausen is available. All the guys are available, but can they keep this up? They've played 4 games in a row. They've got to be tired. I mean, goodness. They've been sensational.
Riley Cooper still. Riley Cooper will be Saturday. He'll be after Floyd.
They can all go, but I don't know, man. How do you beat Sproat and Waldrop with the offense Florida has? I don't see it. Let's lay out the numbers here.
Sproat hasn't been unhittable here recently.
No, but Florida's offense can back him up, and Florida's got a good bullpen. Now, I will say, the bullpen for Florida has been their problem here in Omaha. Bullpen has an ERA over 5. 6 earned runs in 10 1/3. We talked about LSU as a bullpen ERA of 1. Florida's starters, though, have been pretty serviceable compared to LSU. 2.70 ERA, LSU 1.93. I just think the Gators are rested. Kevin O'Sullivan is saying they've got the rotation set up the way they want to. I mean, LSU, hat tip to getting here. You've done the unthinkable, winning 4 games, to do it, but
we haven't even talked about the fan bases, man. These two fan bases hate each other.
Oh,
man.
yeah. I just don't think I think Florida's got too much. And I think LSU's fatigue will eventually get them. Florida's been resting since Wednesday afternoon. LSU, partied into the night last night. Did they break 30K yet at Rocco's? Because they were getting there. They were 28, 29,000 last I saw. So I'll look that up. But yeah,
you get a Rocco's update again. Florida winning.
Fan bases.
Florida winning all 3 of their games by 1 run. I mean, the offense hasn't been as good, I think, as maybe what you were leading on to. I mean, 6-5, 5-4, 3-2. They've scored 14 total runs.
I'm talking about the whole season.
Yeah. No, I got you.
They're at as of 11:35 last night. LSU is at 29,023.
Okay.
So they probably broke 30.
I broke 30 by the time this hits your feed here on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
We're approaching 2:20 Eastern, so we are about to get out of here. We're over an hour, 1:05 on this podcast. But yeah, these two fan bases, Kahn, from football, it extends into basketball as well. This is one of those rivalries that, when it comes to SEC football scheduling, like, you want to make sure Florida is one of those permanent, opponents for LSU because of the fan bases, because of the East-West, kind of preserving that, even though the divisions are going to be gone. But, it goes back to, I think it was a hurricane a couple of years ago that it impacted, Florida wasn't going to relocate a game that was going to be in Gainesville, but then had to come to Baton Rouge anyways, and that kind of pumped up or ratcheted up kind of the vitriol that was being spewed at one another, and Florida fans being petty in LSU fans' eyes. And, anytime LSU is in town or Florida is in town, LSU is roasting Gator. Like, they are spinning Gator like a pig out in the tailgates. Like, it is a sight to behold. It is amazing. Again, it's already two SEC fan bases, and you know how obnoxious and belligerent, they can get to begin with, how passionate they are. But when they collide, and certainly in this setting, we saw it in 2017, it's going to be more LSU fans, than it will be Florida fans. And that's just natural because of LSU's, dominance and success long-term in Omaha, and how many trips, how many times they've been there playing for what will be a 7th national title. Florida looking for their 2nd. It's going to be an amazing 2 out of 3 series that begins Saturday. I hope it lives up to the hype. I'm not expecting it to live up certainly to what we got in Wake Forest and LSU. That was otherworldly, but still, give us a good series, entertain us, and the SEC is coming out the real champ here because nonetheless, no matter who wins, the SEC gets another championship. 3
final numbers just to give you to clear out the notebook. Paul Skeens, first college pitcher to cross the 200 strikeout mark since Jared Weaver in 2004. So 20 years. Tommy White, second player in the last 20 years since 2004 with 100 runs batted in a season. Those 2 homers were his 99th and 100th runs batted in. Nick LaRusso of Maryland is the other one. Okay. First walk-off homer at the College World Series since Jaron Kendall for Vanderbilt in 2015 against Cal State Fullerton for Tommy White. Wow. That's it. That's all I got. Notebook is emptied. Notebook has been emptied. He's David Kahn at SportsCom4. I'm Kyle Schassburger at Kyle Schass. Follow us at CS Now Tweets. If you got a name for our reality show, it's me. It's Joe Healy of D1Baseball.com, Jack Caglione, Dylan Cruz, Wyatt Langford, and Paul Skeens. It's just the 6 of us, just 6 dudes on a diamond. 6 dudes on a diamond. The diamond of life. You're running through the 6 with your woes. Yeah, there you go. I'll be brainstorming. You brainstorm with me. Hit me up on Twitter. We'll be back at some point next week to put a bow on the 2023 college baseball season. College World Series finals begin on Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Eastern on Sunday and Monday, if necessary, 7 o'clock. Listen to on the Varsity Network app. You can get the national feed or the Florida feed. They're both available for you there. Until we meet again next week, enjoy the college baseball. We love you all. Watch, listen, partake. Quench your thirst, break bread, all of that. We've spent so much time together the last couple of days. We've watched 4 games together. We have. Yeah. We've almost watched as many games as we've called together. Yeah, it's true. That needs to change. Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later, folks. Enjoy. See ya.